Hi everybody, this is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how I am going to wash and freeze some leeks. Now if you've never dealt with leeks before, it's very important to know that they need to be washed really well, because as you can see, these leaves are somewhat loosely packed and they grow partially into the soil, so there's usually a lot of grit down in this direction. So washing them well is very important, or you're going to be getting something in there that you really don't want. Now, some trained chefs will tell you, and there's nothing wrong with this, will tell you to cut the leek from not all the way down, all the way through, but about here, and cut it all the way down, and then turn it over, not completely at 90 degrees, and then do the same, cut from not all the way down, but partially through, and then all the way down this way. So what you have is a quartered leek that is all still attached down at the base. And then what they will do is take the leaves and fan them out like you might fan a deck of cards. Fan them out and run it under running water and rub the leaves at the same time to release the grit and so forth that's in them. That seems like a very fancy way to do it. I like to kiss things, keep it so simple and make it easy. So I don't know that there's any fast way to wash leeks, but we want to make sure that they're done effectively. So here's what I'm going to do, is cut the bottom off. I'm going to discard that, and I am going to cut it lengthwise. Now these will be frozen, so and I intend to just chop them so that they're going to be in a state of how I can use them in the future. And you can see there's a lot of grit right in here. What I'm going to do is just cut that part off because I don't like the way that looks. And I am going to just separate these and take them to the sink and wash them individually. This one on the end I'm going to take and discard, and this piece right here looks a little bit spent. I'm going to take that and get it off of there, and I'm just going to take these to the sink and wash these leaves individually. Now, do you see what I'm talking about as far as grit and dirt in there? If you don't pay special attention to that, you're going to be eating a lot more dirt than what you want. So I'm just going to be putting this in a container for now, and after I have 3 leeks, after I treat them all the same way I just did, cut the base off and cut them down lengthwise, I am going to take them all to the sink and just pull them apart and wash these leaves individually, one by one, and then I'm going to bunch them together and then cut them up for the freezer. And again, they don't have to be anything all that special in the way that they're cut as far as I'm concerned, because I'll be using them in cooking for the most part. Some I'm going to reserve to have raw in salads, but you can see there's already a lot of dirt here on the cutting board, and I will be washing that as well before I get back to cutting the clean leeks. So at any rate, I'm going to take these and wash them, and then I'll show you what they look like after I have that done. As you can see, this is quite a bowl of leek leaves that I've got here. But by taking it apart like that, I feel more comfortable that I actually got the dirt out from between these layers, because there was a lot of dirt in between a lot of layers, and I don't feel comfortable that I would have gotten it all out by just fanning them apart. So what I'm going to do is cut them, and and it's going to take a while, so you don't have to watch through all that. But all I'm doing right now is grabbing a handful, and I'm just going to bunch them up almost like they were back in the plant like they initially were. I think I'll cut the top of that one off right there, discard that. And I'm going to be using these in cooking for the most part, so I'm just going to chop them into relatively, just into slices. It won't be all that small, but I could actually go back and make them small like this. Now the beauty of freezing foods that are in the onion family is the fact that they do not need to be blanched. So that's as far as I'm going to go. I'm going to, as you can see here, put them in a bowl and just have them all in that bowl, and they'll continue to dry out just a little bit in there because we want as little water as possible on them, because obviously they're going into the freezer. They do not need to be blanched. And so they're going to go from the bowl into a Ziploc freezer bag and then into the freezer, and they will keep in the freezer for 5 to 6 months. And I'll be using them as I would onions, or in any dish where I might want a mild onion flavor, because they are mild in flavor, so that is nice. Anyway, the biggest thing to remember about the leeks is washing them really well. And if you feel comfortable slicing them and fanning them out, please be my guest and do that. I'm showing you an alternate way, and it might be a little bit of a mess to deal with here, but I feel more confident that I got the dirt out of them, which is really the most important thing to me. I will continue to do this and let you know how much I get here out of 3 leeks. Alright, I've cut up all of the leeks, and I've got 2 1-gallon freezer bags full of them. Now when you thaw these out, or when you go to use them, you really don't need to thaw them. You can just take them out of the bag and use them in whatever cooking dish you're going to use. They will not have the crispness that they would when they're raw, so if you want them in a raw, crispy state, your best bet is to use them fresh and not frozen like this. But these will work perfectly well in any cooked dish. And then one other way to freeze them would be to initially spread them out on a baking sheet, put that in your freezer, and allow them to freeze kind of separately, and then you can put them in a freezer bag. But I have found that this way works just as well, as long as you kind of flatten it out some when it's first put in the freezer and allow them to freeze, and then you can kind of do like this and break them up a little bit. I've done that numerous times and I have no problem with it. So I like to keep it simple. And you see that I've labeled the bags as well with the date on there, because they will keep for 5 to 6 months. I want to use them within that time frame. So it's very helpful to have the date on your bag as well. So there we are. It's simple. You don't have to blanch them. You just need to wash them really, really well. Drain them. Cut them up into whatever sizes you want. Throw them in the bag. Put it in the freezer. Let me know if you need any other information about washing or freezing leeks. Put it in the comments section below. I'll be glad to help you out any way that I can. This is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. I hope this helps. Have a great day.